The modern world thrives on data. In fact, it seems to drink it up, whether we're talking about news and analysis or media products like movies and music or information flows between individuals and businesses. It seems our lives float on a data stream. But this is not the case for all of us. There are vast swathes of the planet that are cut off from the sort of data that many of us depend on. It's why at the ITU's Telecom World they're holding a Broadband Leadership Summit. The idea is to bring together political leaders, heads of industry and development agencies so they can talk about the best strategy for rolling out broadband infrastructure across the world.
We are seeing today that the broadband access is becoming a fundamental enabler in the economic development of nations.
You know, we are in the knowledge society today. And the knowledge society is a society where everyone has access to information, can use the information, because accessing is not enough, you have to use the information, can create information. Every citizen of this planet is a potential source of information. And last but not least, can share the information. Those are the 4 prerequisites for us to enter the knowledge society that we are dreaming of. And broadband will be the key enabler for that.
It is a great teaming up. It is talking about an instrument where, as well in the developing, as well in the developed countries, we can do an extremely good job.
The choices we have in school and in work and in education and in training, these are choices that in many parts of the world we take for granted. But with so much now moving online, it seems that access to life-changing opportunities means access to broadband internet. It's about education, it's about self-empowerment, it's about social change. And it's why so many have so much faith that broadband internet access is the key to the international community meeting the targets that it set itself for development, the Millennium Development Goals.
We know that by 2015 we will not be able to meet the MDGs in health without e-health. We will not be able to meet the MDGs in education without e-education. Government will not be able to meet its goals without e-government. Now, ITU's constituency is infrastructure developers. We needed other constituencies to come together.
The best investment you can do is to fight poverty. The best investment that you can do is to create jobs. The best investment that can be done is to incorporate people that is marginal and in poverty to the modern economy and to the market. I am a believer in public education. I think that is very important, education to have the same opportunities, and broadband will be a way to do that.
I think from a global point of view, you know, ICT is even more important for developing countries than developed countries. And that's because we have you know, great swaths of rural areas, particularly in the developing countries, that really have been excluded from any development that we've seen in these countries. And ICT is such a critical way in which you can actually begin to bring these rural communities into the rest of the world.
With an estimated 2 billion people currently online, getting a further 1 billion connected is the next target. Easily said, but how do we do it? It's what they've been asking at Telecom World's Broadband Leadership Summit. How do you reach people in remote areas who maybe can't afford pricey computers and connections? And are we right to trust the market and leave it all to telecom companies not always keen to roll out infrastructure to places where the profits are meagre?
In Australia, our major incumbent, which is the most dominant telco previously across the world, said quite clearly, categorically, we will only build an upgraded national broadband network to 60% of Australia. So they made it clear there was no economic case for the private sector to build beyond the 60% mark. So the market does not deliver to the remotest and regional Australians. This is considered to be quite radical by some, but we believe by putting in place the infrastructure needed that the government owns, that you're able to provide the best retail competition and the cheaper prices. And we're already starting to see that in Australia today.
There are some other formulas where governments will invest in their infrastructure and leave it to the private sector to use, again, giving them some price caps. So there are different models that have been successful in different cases. There is no universal solution to these things.
I'm a strong believer in end-to-end. It is a cooperation. It is public-private partnership, also in this issue. The government has a main responsibility, no doubt about that. But talking about the investment, there is no lack of money at the moment. There is a lack of trust. So we need to give trust that this type of investments are challenging, are giving opportunities.
So are we ready for this much information? Well, no one knows. Certainly many believe that social media played a crucial role in the Arab Spring, the grassroots movement that mobilized for political change across the Arab world. Certainly the internet, social media are tremendous tools for self-expression, but they're also difficult to police. So what's the future? Free association, free speech, or social chaos?
Freedom of speech is something that is, for me, a crown jewel. And we should take into account that with this instrument of broadband, of internet, there is an extremely great opportunity.
It's clear that we are living a new civilization of knowledge, of technology, of services, and they have new paradigms. And the paradigms of this new society is freedom, democracy, plurality, diversity, globalization, competitiveness, productivity, technology, innovation, human rights, environment. These are the paradigms of this new civilization. And I think what is happening is that as much as this society advances, you go to these paradigms.
We are seeing the broadband access becoming more and more what I would like to qualify as a basic human right. And if we look at the recent events that happened since the beginning of the year in the Arab world, we see how important this mean of expression has been in driving dramatic changes and very impactful changes.
If we're going to succeed in bringing broadband access to the digital have-nots, it's going to need more than just the political will to do it. It's going to need investment from industry and the development know-how to make sure it's done right. With the Broadband Leadership Summit at World Telecom, the ITU has shown it doesn't just have the dexterity to weave these different strands together, but also the drive to spread the net to the next billion users.